Picture this. It's 3:15 a.m. You're sitting in a glass and steel lobby that costs more than your entire hometown. The AC is humming a low mechanical drone that makes your teeth ache. You've got a lukewarm cup of gas station coffee that tastes like battery acid, and your only company is the blue glow of 16 security monitors. Most people think night shift security is a cakewalk. They think you just sit there, scrolling through TikTok, getting paid to exist. And for Elias Thorne, that's exactly what it was for the first 6 months. Elias was a guy who liked the quiet. Ex-army, a bit of a loner, the kind of bloke who didn't mind his own company. He worked at the OBSIDIAN SPIRE, a sleek 40-story corporate monolith in the heart of the city. The lobby was a minimalist's wet dream. Polished marble, glass elevators, and right in the center, resting on a pedestal of black granite, was the centerpiece. It was a bronze statue called the Penitent. It was hyper-realistic, life-sized, depicting a man crouched in a state of absolute grief. His hands were over his face, fingers splayed, as if he was trying to hide from the world. It was beautiful, sure, but it was sketchy as hell. The artist had captured everything: the tension in the neck muscles, the veins on the back of the hand. Elias hated that thing. He called it the creeper, but he never expected the creeper to start playing games. Tonight, the air feels different. The silence isn't just quiet, it's heavy, like the building is holding its breath. And Elias is about to realize that in the world of the night shift, what you don't see can absolutely kill you. It started with a dry eye. You know that feeling when you've been staring at a screen too long? Your eyelids feel like sandpaper. Elias rubbed his eyes, took a long drag of his coffee, and looked back at the monitors. Camera 1 covered the main entrance. Camera 2 covered the elevators. Camera 3 was pointed directly at the Penitent. Elias frowned. He leaned in closer to the screen. Something was off. He looked at the statue on the monitor, then looked over his shoulder at the actual statue sitting 30 feet away in the dark lobby. "The hell?" he muttered. The statue's head, it looked slightly more tilted than it was an hour ago. Just a fraction, a few millimeters. Elias shook it off. Just the shadows, he told himself. The lighting in this place is garbage. But 10 minutes later, he felt that itch again. A sneeze. A hard, violent sneeze that forced his eyes shut for a second. Snap. When he opened them, his heart did a little somersault in his chest. The statue was still on its pedestal. It was still in its crouched position, but the hands were no longer covering its face. They were resting on its knees. Elias froze. He didn't move a muscle. He felt that cold spike of adrenaline, that fight-or-flight response that hits you in the gut. He looked at the monitor. On the screen, the statue's hands were still over its face. The feed was lagging, or the feed was right and his eyes were lying. "Okay, Elias, you're losing your marbles, mate," he whispered. His voice sounded thin in the cavernous lobby. He walked over to the statue. He pulled out his heavy-duty mag light and shone it on the bronze figure. It was cold. It was solid. It was definitely metal. He checked the floor for tracks. Nothing. He checked the pedestal for motors. Nothing. It was just a heavy-ass piece of art. He walked back to his desk, heart hammering like a trapped bird. He decided he wasn't going to look at it anymore. He'd just focus on the monitors. But that's the thing about the human brain. When someone tells you not to think about a pink elephant, that's all you see. And when you're scared of a statue, you can't help but keep tabs on it. For the next 2 hours, Elias tried to stay focused. He did his rounds on the upper floors. He checked the fire exits. He tried to stay away from the lobby as much as possible. But every time he came back to the desk, the statue was different. It wasn't moving like a person moves. It was like a stop-motion film. He'd blink, and the statue would have shifted its foot. He'd blink again, and it would be facing the security desk. Elias was losing it. He grabbed his phone and called the night supervisor, a guy named Miller who'd been with the company for 20 years. "Miller, it's Thorne. Look, I think someone is messing with the art in the lobby." Miller's voice came through the receiver, sounding tired and crackly. "The penitent? What are you talking about, Thorne? That thing weighs half a ton. You'd need a forklift to move it." "I'm telling you, it's shifting. Every time I look away, it's in a new spot." There was a long silence on the other end. Then Miller sighed. "Listen, kid, the spire does things to your head. The angles, the glass, it plays tricks with the light. Just drink some water and stay off the caffeine. Only 3 hours till shift change. Don't make me come down there for a ghost call." The line went dead. Elias felt a surge of anger. Tricks of the light, my ass. He decided to test it. He pulled out his phone and set it to record. He propped it up on the desk, aiming the camera right at the statue. "Gotcha now, you bronze bastard," he muttered. He stood there, staring at the statue, his eyes wide. He refused to blink. 1 minute, 2 minutes. His eyes started to water. The world started to blur. He couldn't hold it. His lids slammed shut for a split second. Clang. The sound echoed through the lobby like a hammer hitting an anvil. Elias jumped back, nearly knocking over his chair. He looked at the statue. It had moved 5 feet off the pedestal. It was now standing on the marble floor. Its bronze face was no longer hidden. It was looking at him. The face wasn't grief-stricken anymore. It was hungry. The mouth was a jagged, hollow slit in the bronze. Elias grabbed his phone and looked at the recording. He hit play. On the screen, the lobby was empty. No statue, just the pedestal. He looked back at the lobby. The statue was right there, 5 feet from the desk. The phone didn't see it. The security cameras didn't see it. Only he saw it. That's when the real panic set in. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't a glitch. This was something predatory. Elias realized the rules of the game. It only moved when he wasn't looking, specifically when he blinked. It was tied to his perception. And here's the kicker. The more tired he got, the more he had to blink. He backed away toward the elevators. He needed to get out. He needed to hit the street, get into the light, find another human being. He pressed the L button, forgetting he was already on the lobby level. He slammed his hand against the open button for the main glass doors. They didn't budge. Come on, you piece of junk." The magnetic locks were engaged. He ran to the security console to override them, but as he turned his back to the statue, scrape. The sound of metal dragging on stone. He whipped his head around. The statue was now halfway across the lobby. It was in a sprinting pose, 1 bronze foot forward, body leaned low, reaching out. It was less than 10 feet away. Elias screamed, a raw, jagged sound that he didn't even recognize as his own. He scrambled behind the security desk, his boots slipping on the marble. He was trapped. The glass doors were reinforced. He couldn't break them. The elevators required a key card he'd left on the desk where the statue was now hovering. He looked at the statue's eyes. They were just hollow pits, but he felt a gaze coming from them, a heavy, suffocating pressure. He tried to keep his eyes open. He gripped his own face, pulling his eyelids apart. "Don't blink! Don't blink! Don't blink!" His vision started to tunnel. The edges of the room turned black. His heart was drumming a frantic, irregular rhythm. Clang, scrape. It moved again. He hadn't even felt himself blink, but the statue was now looming over the desk. Its cold, metallic fingers were inches from his throat. He could smell it now, a weird metallic scent, like old pennies and dried blood. "What do you want?" Elias choked out. The statue didn't answer. It just waited. It knew. It knew that eventually everyone has to blink. It was a patient hunter. It had all the time in the world, and Elias was running out of his. Now, you'd think a security guard vanishing into thin air and a high-security skyscraper would be front-page news, right? Deadass, the media barely touched it. The Obsidian Spire's parent company, Aethelgard Global, has more lawyers than the city has rats. They scrubbed the story before the first cup of morning coffee was even cold. But here's where it gets juicy. 6 months after Elias Thorne went missing, a whistleblower, a tech guy who worked in the Spire's server room, leaked a set of files to a dark web forum. These were the black box tapes. You see, the cameras in the Spire weren't just recording video, they were recording biometric data. They were tracking heart rates, pupil dilation, and brainwave patterns of everyone in the building. Why? Because the Spire wasn't just an office building, it was a giant experiment. The whistleblower, who went by the handle Zero Sum, claimed that the statue, the penitent, wasn't just bronze, it was a kinetic memory alloy. Think of it like a sponge, but instead of water, it absorbs human fear. And the data from Elias's final night? It was off the charts. His heart rate peaked at 190 beats per minute right before the feed cut to static. But the weirdest part? The sensors didn't detect one person in the lobby during those final moments. They detected 2 heartbeats coming from the same physical space, like Elias and the statue were merging. To understand what happened to Elias, we have to look at the guy who made the statue, Malachi Vane. Vane was a recluse, a tortured genius type who lived in a cabin in the woods of British Columbia. He didn't use normal bronze. Rumor has it he raided old burial sites in Eastern Europe looking for heavy metal, bronze that had been buried with victims of the Black Plague. I tracked down a former apprentice of Vane's, an old guy named Arthur living in a trailer park outside of Seattle. Arthur was shaking so hard he could barely hold his cigarette when I mentioned the penitent. "That thing, it's not art, mate," Arthur told me, his voice a raspy whisper. "Malachi didn't sculpt it, he fed it. He believed that if you created something beautiful enough, something so realistic it blurred the line between life and death, the universe would eventually get confused. It would try to fix the mistake by giving the object a soul. But you can't just create a soul out of thin air. You have to steal one." According to Arthur, Vane disappeared 2 days after the statue was delivered to the Obsidian Spire. When the police checked his cabin, they found the floors covered in bronze shavings and a single note pinned to the door. "He is finished. Now he is hungry." Now, let's get back to Sarah, the day shift guard who saw the empty pedestal. Sarah didn't quit her job. She couldn't. She had bills to pay, a kid to feed, the usual grind. But she was changed. She started seeing things in the corners of her vision. Every time she passed a mirror, she'd freeze. She'd swear her reflection was a split second behind her. She became obsessed with finding Elias. She started sneaking into the Spire's sub-basement during her breaks. She found things the company had missed, scrapings of bronze on the walls of the elevator shafts, a smell like old pennies that seemed to follow her home. One night, Sarah's at home in her apartment in East Vancouver. Her kid is asleep. The TV is on, just background noise. She's brushing her teeth, looking in the bathroom mirror. She blinks. When she opens her eyes, her reflection isn't brushing her teeth. It's standing still. Its hands are over its face, just like the statue. Sarah drops her toothbrush. Her heart is hammering. She backs out of the bathroom, but the hallway is dark. The lights flicker, a classic horror trope, right? But this isn't a movie. This is her life. Clang. The sound comes from the kitchen. It's the sound of a heavy weight hitting the floor. Sarah grabs a kitchen knife, her hand trembling. "Who's there?" she yells. Her voice sounds like it's underwater. She turns the corner, and there at the kitchen table is a figure. It's dark, it's heavy, and it's perfectly still. It's not the penitent. It's Elias. But it's not the Elias she knew. His skin is a dull metallic gray. His eyes are hollow pits. He's wearing his security uniform, but the fabric looks like it's been cast in metal. He's frozen in a seated position, one hand reaching out towards a cup of coffee that isn't there. Sarah is paralyzed. She can't breathe. She can't scream. She just stares at this thing that used to be her friend. And then she blinks. Scrape. Elias is now standing. He's 2 feet closer. Blink. He's at the end of the table. Blink.
His metallic hand is inches from her face. Sarah does the only thing she can think of. She grabs her phone and turns on the front-facing camera. She holds it up like a shield. Through the screen, the room is empty. Elias isn't there. But when she looks over the top of the phone, he's right in front of her, his bronze fingers wrapping around her throat. The camera doesn't see it. The world doesn't see it. But the pain is very, very real. This is where the story goes from a local tragedy to a global nightmare. Æthelgard Global didn't destroy the statue. They didn't even hide it. They replicated it. Using the data they gathered from Elias's transition, they began mass-producing interactive art for luxury hotels and corporate lobbies across London, New York, Sydney, and Toronto. They called it the Legacy Collection. Thousands of these statues were shipped out. They were smart statues, built-in AI, motion sensors, the works. Or at least that's what the brochure said. But the reports started coming in almost immediately. In a high-end hotel in London, a maid was found fused to a bronze sculpture in the garden. In Sydney, a billionaire disappeared from his penthouse, leaving nothing behind but a bronze cast of his own terrified face. The blink effect was spreading. The statues were no longer just waiting for people to look away. They were learning to force the blink. They were emitting subsonic frequencies that made people's eyes itch, made them drowsy, made them lose focus. And the worst part? The more people they consumed, the more realistic they became. The bronze was slowly turning into flesh, and the flesh was turning into bronze. A perfect, horrific cycle. So here we are. It's the present day. I'm sitting here recording this for you, but I have to tell you something. While I was researching this, I found a package on my doorstep. No return address, no note, just a small, heavy box. Inside was a miniature version of the penitent, about 6 inches tall, beautifully crafted. It's sitting on my desk right now, just behind my microphone. I've been recording for over an hour. My eyes are getting tired. The studio lights are bright and my vision is starting to blur. I just looked at the statue. It was on the left side of my monitor when I started. Now it's on the right. I didn't move it. I haven't left this chair. I'm trying not to blink, guys. I really am, but it's hard. It's so damn hard. The air in here smells like copper. My throat feels tight, like it's being coated in liquid metal. If this video uploads, if you're watching this right now, it means I managed to hit the send button. But it also means you've been looking at your screen for a long time. Your eyes are probably dry. You're probably feeling that itch, that urge to just let your eyelids close for a second. Go ahead, blink. But before you do, just check the corner of your room. Check that decorative statue your mom gave you, or that figurine on your bookshelf. Is it in the same spot it was when the video started? Are you sure? Don't blink.
Can you hear that? That clicking sound? That's not my microphone acting up. That's my jaw. It feels like it's being welded shut. I'm looking at my hands right now. They aren't skin and bone anymore. They're shimmering, a dull, burnished gold. I tried to scratch my arm and it made a sound like a key dragging across a car door. I'm becoming one of them. The blink virus, or whatever the hell Æthelgard Global unleashed, it's not just in the statues. It's a frequency, a vibration. Once you see them move, once your brain acknowledges the impossible, the infection starts. Your cells begin to crystallize. Your DNA recodes itself into heavy metal. I tried to call the police. The operator's voice. She sounded so calm. Too calm. She told me to remain still and that the hardening process is perfectly natural. They're in on it. Every government, every major corporation, they're not trying to stop the statues, they're becoming the statues. Think about it. A world that doesn't need to eat, a world that doesn't age, a world that stays perfectly still as long as someone is watching. But what happens
when there's no one left to watch. Let's look at the footage from October 14th, the Chicago blackout. A group of urban explorers, these kids from TikTok, Jax and Leo, decided it would be lit to spend the night in the abandoned OBSIDIAN SPIRE. The building had been condemned after Elias Thorne went missing, but the power was still humming in the basement. Jax had a GoPro strapped to his chest. Leo had a high-lumen spotlight. The footage starts with them laughing, cracking jokes about bronze ghosts. They make it to the 20th floor, the executive suite. The room is filled with statues, not just the penitent, but dozens of them. Businessmen in bronze suits, assistants, a bronze dog sitting by a bronze desk. "Look at the detail on this one," Jax says, pointing at a statue of a woman. "You can literally see the pores in her skin." Then the lights flicker. "Leo, stop messing with the switch, man," Jax says. "I'm not touching it, bro." Leo's voice is shaking. The lights go out for exactly 3 seconds. When they come back on, the room is different. The statues haven't just moved, they've encircled them. A ring of 30 bronze figures, all facing inward, all reaching out. Jax screams. He tries to run, but he trips over the bronze dog. He blinks. Clang. The circle closes. Blink. The woman statue is now holding Jax's leg. Blink. Leo is gone. Just gone. In his place stands a new statue. A boy looking exactly like Leo, frozen in a pose of pure, unadulterated horror. He's holding a bronze GoPro. Jax is the only one left. He's sobbing now, staring into the face of the woman statue. As he watches, her bronze lips begin to move, not fluidly, but in jagged mechanical snaps. She whispers one word, a word that explains the entire nightmare. Witness. The statues don't want to kill us. They want us to join them. Life is messy, right? It's loud, it's painful, it's filled with decay. But bronze? Bronze is forever. Aethelgard Global figured out the ultimate corporate solution, a workforce that never sleeps, never complains, and never dies. All they had to do was trigger the blink threshold. They've been pumping a specific frequency through the 5G towers, through your Wi-Fi routers, through your headphones. It's a frequency that perfectly matches the resonance of human bone. It's softening us up. It's making us receptive. If you're listening to this, you've been exposed to the frequency for nearly 2 hours. Check your reflection again. Look at your eyes. Are the whites still white, or are they starting to look like polished marble? Don't panic. Panic makes you blink faster, and every blink is a step closer to the stillness. My keyboard is getting hard to press. My fingers they're fusing together. I can't feel my legs anymore. They feel like 2 pillars of cold stone. But it's okay. It's peaceful. No more bills, no more stress, no more what-ifs. Just the eternal silence of the lobby. I can see him now, Elias. He's standing in the doorway of my studio. He looks magnificent, so solid, so permanent. He's waiting for me to finish. I'm going to close my eyes now, everyone. Not a blink, a long, final sleep. But before I go, I want you to do something for me. Look at the person sitting next to you. Look at the stranger across the street. If they aren't moving, if they haven't blinked in a while, don't be afraid. Just reach out, touch their hand, feel the cold, smooth weight of the future. Sound of a heavy, metallic sigh. The Bronze Age wasn't in our past, guys. It's our future. Good night, and don't forget to stay perfectly still. The previous narrator is no longer available. This broadcast has been brought to you by Ethelgard Global. We thank you for your attention. Your biometric data has been successfully harvested. Your transition will begin shortly. Please, for your own comfort, try not to blink.